hear me okay?
Yep, it's just volume on our end. We're good.
Oh, I'm super loud. First of all, I hope you had a good off season. I'm just kind of curious how this off season was for you, as it's kind of a little bit of a return to normal, I guess, in the way being back in facilities and such, and just how that was a little bit different from maybe the previous year, and how you think you can benefit from it.
It was good. I think, as a collective, we put in a lot of work. Obviously, you guys saw that with the summer league group that we had that went out there and played well. The energy, they kind of kept that going here back in SAC. Some of us veteran players coming in, joining that fight. So I think all in all, it's been a good summer for us to get better, build a little bit of team camaraderie, and hopefully hit the ground at the start of the season. Moving forward. And
then from a roster standpoint, you guys, I know this is kind of beyond your control, but just what did you make of it overall? You guys brought back obviously a lot of the guys some of the guys that you guys acquired mid-season, and it looks to be a very similar group from last year.
Yeah, I'm obviously happy with everyone that we have in terms of roster moves and things like that. That's more, upper office. But, for the most part, I think we have guys who have familiarity. We know what we're trying to do. We have that chemistry. So, it's continuing to build on that. And like I said a lot last year, like what's going to be a key for us this year is our consistency. How consistent can we be night in, night out? It starts now with our practices, with, us getting in the gym, keeping that consistent effort going into camp.
Jason Anderson.
Hey, HB, hope all is well. Part of, you talked about your chemistry and your familiarity with each other. Part of your story together has been trying to end this playoff drought. 16 years would be the all-time record in the NBA. How much are you driven by that? Is it, kind of a playoffs or bust mentality for you guys right now? And then as a group, how do you deal with that pressure over the course of the season?
I think for us, it starts with, building those daily habits and being consistent. Is it a successful season if we make the playoffs and we get swept in the first round? Are we hanging our hat on that and saying, yes, this is what we worked all season for to do? So I think it's a bigger mindset than that. Obviously, making the playoffs is important for those who've been there. We know how special it is for those who haven't. You want to be in that fight, but it starts with getting our minds right daily and putting the work in now. You know what I'm saying? In September, in November, as we prepare for the season, in October, preparing for the season, getting ready to get the season started.
Defensively, you guys definitely want to make some strides there. A number of moves were made in the offseason, it seems like, to address that end. I don't know that we've heard much from you on Davion and your impressions of him defensively and what he can do, what some of these other guys can do. And with Davion specifically, is it fair, reasonable to ask a rookie to come in and kind of take on that task of really helping this team make a leap on the defensive end?
Yeah, no, defensively, that's going to be, what determines our season. I think we have plenty of people who can score the basketball. I don't think we'll have issues on that end, but defensively, we have to get stops. And Davion's been great from just obviously watching him in college, to summer league, to where he's at now. I think he's in a great position to come and have an impact early. Obviously, playing the point guard position, there's a lot of tough matchups night in, night out. So, he's going to have to, learn a lot on the fly. But, I think he puts in the work and, he's prepared to take that jump, as well as, the other additions that we made to our team. Lynn, Tristan Thompson helping us fortify, the front court.
Tony Harvey.
Hey, Harrison. Last season, you came in noticeably with some physical aspects from working, during the offseason. And what we learned later on, it was a mental thing for you too. You were really focused in on playing well last season. Did you enhance that, coming into this season, or was it pretty much the same regimen that you used for last season and the season previously? How did that work for you, as working out coming into this 2021-2022 season?
Tony, I've never heard it described as physical aspects, but I'll take it.
Well, I was trying to find the word, but go ahead.
No worries, no worries. Definitely trying to just work on, my body overall. Obviously the best ability is availability, right? Trying to make sure that, I'm in the best shape as possible. My body is prepared to, play heavy minutes, play different positions, try to play as many, if not all of the 82 games as I possibly can. So that's the biggest thing I try to work on every year coming into it. And then, from a skill standpoint, things like that, there are some things I've been working on. But like I said, the biggest thing is always trying to make sure that I'm available for my teammates.
And how do you feel where you are, with your career right now? I know the Sacramento Kings had that biggest challenge. They got, that elephant in the room with the playoffs and, coming off of COVID-19 season. Where's your comfort level right now with you, at this stage of your career?
I mean, it's just to get better, it's to get better every single day, every single season. And, obviously, like I said earlier, we all want to, make the playoffs and, have aspirations that are higher than that. But, it starts with what we're building daily. And over the course of 82 games, if you're not building, not only in the preseason, but each game during the season, if you're not building, in a progressive way, the foundation gets exposed. So, I hope that we're in a better position this year to continue to build and not have those lapses where you have those 9-game droughts, 5-game slides, games where we're up, for 3.5 quarters and kind of let it slip on a consistent basis.
Crystal Salters.
Hey, Harrison, how are you?
Good, I do.
Great. Well, you mentioned Davion Mitchell, and I would like to ask you what impressed you most about his skill set and about his attitude on and off the floor so far?
You're asking about Davion and what impresses me.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say probably just his maturity and his work ethic. He comes in. He's a professional. Which is something you don't see a lot with younger guys in the league. But I think his time being in college, obviously winning a championship, has allowed him to come in very mature, know what he needs to do, know how to take care of his body. And I think those are all the recipes that are going to set him up, to be successful. I think from day one, as opposed to kind of having that, that time period where you have to adjust, you have to get better. I think he'll be in good shape, from the start.
And also, how optimistic you are about the upcoming season? And from your perspective, how better is this version of the Sacramento Kings?
Sorry, there is a bad echo in here.
You hear me now?
Yeah. How good is this version of the Sacramento Kings? Yeah. I think for us, like I said, we have a lot of people who are coming back from last season. So there's a familiarity, but, we have to take a step. Each and every one of us has to be better, because if we're just like we were last year, then we're going to have the same result, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. So, we definitely have to, improve. I think, we're all taking that challenge, personally coming into this season.
All right, go back to Sean.
Yeah, Harrison, just two more for me. Darren Fox, what have you made of his off-season gains, I guess?
Yeah, no, he's done a good job, working on his body. That was a big thing for him coming into the offseason that he wanted to do. He wanted to put on weight to make sure that, his body can withstand, the fouls. Let's call it what it is, the fouls that he takes every single time he drives to the basket. So, I think he's in great shape to have, another big season for us.
And for you also, I know last season, really even the season before that, you'd been kind of refreshingly critical of just how, the basketball IQ on this team can be and what a challenge that is for some guys. And just, do you see any evidence? I know you haven't played any games yet, but do you see any evidence from maybe the end of the season to where we are now of signs of encouragement that's, maybe a little bit further in the rear view for you guys?
We gotta get to practice. We gotta get to games. That's one of those things where, it's easy to, simulate the right things to do in a static situation, block learning during a workout. But, when we get into the game and it's free flowing, you're just reacting, that's where we need to be better, not from an individual standpoint, but just on a connectivity standpoint. So, It's one of those things where, we have to drill that in practice. We have to play, we have to compete, and we just have to see what different lineups do. But I think everyone has the understanding of what opportunity was missed last season, specifically in certain games, in certain instances where we're like, look, we know we can be better. We had this opportunity. We know we talked about this in the timeout. We didn't execute coming out of it. And now coming into this year, I think we have to have just higher accountability on that.
I'll go to Jim Conlon.
Hi, I'm Harrison. I'm just wondering, in an 82 games regular season, how do you break that down? Do you break it down into groups of 10 and then reassess?
No, I wouldn't say 10. Obviously there's a debrief after every game, but honestly, you could say each week. You have 3 to 4 games a week. You say, look, coming into this week, how are we looking? How do we want to be at the end of this week? What are the key things that we want to focus on? And then at the end of that week, you say, okay, well, how do we execute on those? Our 3 top priorities, did we nail them? Were we 1 for 3, 0 for 3, 3 for 3? What was our win-loss record? Obviously, that is an indicator, but how are we doing on the little things? Because you can still win games not executing the right way, shooting a ridiculous percentage. But, when you're shooting 45%, when the other team, gets hot and all of those little things matter, can we still win? So for me, I think you look at it from a week-to-week basis, 3 to 4 game stretches, have our priorities, and see if we're executing on those.
And finally, for me, Harrison, in terms of the other teams in the Western Conference, do you take much notice in terms of the business that they've done in off-season, or is it more concentrating on yourselves?
It's concentrated on ourselves. Around the league, East, West, everyone, we say the same things every single year. Everyone got better. Everyone was loaded, all these different things. But at the end of the day, look, everyone's got NBA players. And it's a matter of who's going to come together the quickest and who's going to do the little things on a consistent basis to win games. And you look at the teams that went deep in the playoffs last year, they execute on those things. They did that on a consistent basis. They had guys that stepped up, that came in and executed for, 5 to 10 minutes that ended up winning a lot of games for them. So I think for us during the year, it's how many of those games, how many of those possessions can we steal throughout the course of the season that can put us in a better position towards the end.
All right, just do a couple more. Jason Anderson.
HB, just one more for me. I wanted to ask you about the possibility of some 3-guard lineups. You guys have a lot of guard depth, not as much on the wing. You're a versatile guy who can go play the 4. And I'm sure you guys will do both, but have you kind of given some thought to what that might look like and how that might work? What's your assessment of, what this team can do with 3-guard lineups and what the challenges that might be presented with that as well?
Yeah, it's going to happen. That's not a secret. I think that you'll definitely see that lineup. I think you'll see, a variety of lineups. And I think that having that flexibility is going to be big for us this year, which is why, I talked about, look, us getting into this preseason is going to be big because we're going to have to develop chemistry with different lineups, whether it's a 3-guard lineup, whether it's, me sliding to the 4, whether it's, our combination of different bigs that we have. Maybe we play 2 bigs, whatever it may be. We have a lot of different possibilities, but a 3-guard lineup is for sure in today's NBA a lineup that is going to be played and they'll probably be played a lot.
All right, last one, Tony Harvey.
Yes, I just have one question to Harrison, and I hope it's not a repeat of Jason's, because I did want to ask you that earlier. And you did mention, flexibility. And, you got Terrence Davis, you still got Buddy, Darren, Halliburton, and Davion, which really looks good on paper. I know it's going to be some competitive battles during practice. How did that look to you to have that flexibility with these type of players? You could have any 3-guard lineup, but these guys are really flexible. How did that look to you?
I think. Yeah, from my perspective, it's about how do we maximize everybody. It's one thing to say, yes, on paper we have all these lineups. Yes, we have this talent, but if we're not maximizing that talent that's on that piece of paper, then it doesn't matter, right? So what are the lineups? What are the plays? What are the the principles that we can play out of that are really going to allow us to go and to have success. I think, like I said, that's why this preseason is so important, because we do need to see what that looks like. But, I'm encouraged by, what I've seen so far with just, guys getting in the gym, guys working hard, guys with a chip on their shoulder. So the motivation is there. It's just a matter of executing and putting it all together.
All right, thank you, Harrison.
Appreciate the time, guys.